Again, welcome back to this cricket channel. I'm Jamie Alter. I've got my cup of coffee here. I've got a lot to discuss, and I've got you all lovely people here on the show. तो इसी बात पर एक कॉफी का सिप लेके तो the stream is called Coffee and Cricket with Jamie. It's a morning dose of cricket. और दोस्तों हम आज बात करेंगे कल के तीसरे ओडीआई के बारे में which India won by 78 runs to win the series. Now, quick recap. The last time an Indian team went to South Africa, it was in early January 2022 and they lost all three matches. यानी कि 0-3 से इंडियन टीम हारी. एक फुल स्ट्रेंथ इंडियन टीम, लगभग सारे खिलाड़ी उस समय थे. इस बार जैसे कि हम जानते हैं वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल से सिर्फ तीन प्लेयर इस सीरीज में मौजूद थे, बल्कि श्रेयस अय्यर did not even play the last two. So technically only two players from the World Cup final played the majority of these three one days. पहला मैच इंडिया ले गई, दूसरे मैच साउथ अफ्रीका ले गई और कल था दोस्तों पर्ल में इट वाज द डिसाइडर व्हिच इंडिया वन बाय 78 रन्स. दो अहम किरदार थे कल की जीत में. एक ऐसे इंसान, एक ऐसे खिलाड़ी जो बहुत 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 बार हमें निराश कर चुके हैं, बहुत उन्हें ओवररेटेड कहेंगे. मैं भी एक हद तक इस बात से सहमत हूं. एक ऐसे खिलाड़ी दोस्तों जिनके फैंस बहुत है लेकिन उनका जो अंतरराष्ट्रीय करियर है, खासकर टी ट्वेंटी आईज में, वो अभी तक रंग नहीं लाई है. हम बात कर रहे हैं दोस्तों संजू सैमसन की. He's been given a lot of chances. He made his India debut in 2014. He's had struggles. He's been in and out. He's never had a fixed batting place. मैं बहुत बार कह चुका हूं कि जहां पे अंतरराष्ट्रीय टी आई की बात है, आप संजू सैमसन से आगे बढ़िए. हमारे पास और भी बेहतरीन प्लेयर्स हैं जिनके पास शायद मेंटेलिटी थोड़ी बेहतर हो, लेकिन जहां पे अंतरराष्ट्रीय वनडे की बात हो दोस्तों, वनडे फॉर्मेट के, आई हैव बीन सेइंग फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम बिकॉज द कंपैरिजन इन द बिल्ड अप to the World Cup was between Sanju Samson as a second keeper and a middle order batsman और सूर्य कुमार यादव. अब आप कह सकते हैं शायद कि मैं इस कंपैरिजन को लेकर थोड़ा अनफेयर कर रहा हूं, लेकिन आई एम ओनली सेइंग इट बिकॉज in the last year, building up to the One Day World Cup, Sanju Samson's name was being linked with Surya Kumar Yadav at the number 6 slot. और मैंने जैन के महीने में कहा था दोस्तों कि अगर आप सूर्य कुमार यादव के आंकड़े देखिए, उनके आंकड़े नहीं दिखाते हैं, या आप कह सकते हैं वो कॉन्फिडेंस हमें नहीं देती है कि वो वनडे वर्ल्ड कप में नंबर 6 के लायक है, और वही हुआ. अब जहां पे संजू सैमसन की बात है, मैंने कहा कि भाई इनके आंकड़े देखिए. संजू सैमसन ने कल के मैच से पहले केवल 15 मैचेस खेले थे. या इफ वी गो बैक टू द वर्ल्ड कप डिस्कशन, he'd only played 14 matches. In those 14 matches, his average was 55 and his strike rate was over 101. अब बहुत लोग कहेंगे कि नहीं, वो उनके रन्स के क्या फायदा है, वो स्टैट पैडर हैं, इस पूरे सीरीज को लेकर क्या फायदा है. और बिल्कुल सही बात है. मैं ये नहीं कहता हूं कि संजू सैमसन के जो आंकड़े हैं वो इतने मजबूत है कि आप कहेंगे कि इन्हें आप हर मैच खिलाओ. इनके नॉट आउट्स हैं, लेकिन बात यह है कि वो रन बनाते हैं जहां भी वो खेलते हैं. 3 पे, 4 पे, मिडिल ऑर्डर में 5 पर इनके पास रन्स है. इन्होंने अपना वनडे डेब्यू सिर्फ 2 साल पहले किया था, तकरीबन 2.5 साल होने वाले हैं, 2021 में. ऐसे उनके कई पारियां हैं जहां पे वो सेट हो चुके थे, 46, 54, एंड ही शुड हैव gone on to get hundreds. हाँ, अब यहाँ पर हम उनके टेम्परमेंट में जरूर शक कर सकते हैं, लेकिन बात यह है कि 16 मैच के बाद जब आपके पास 56 का एवरेज हो, आपके पास 100 की स्ट्राइक रेट हो, आपके पास 350 और एक 100 है, बात यह है कि कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ पे वो काबिलियत है. और मैं चाहूंगा कि संजू सैमसन को, क्योंकि थोड़े और मौके मिलेंगे. मैं ये नहीं कहूंगा कि वो आपके नंबर 3 है या नंबर 4 है, लेकिन जब भी कोई मेन खिलाड़ी इंजर्ड हो या उनको रेस्ट दिया गया था, तो आई वुड लाइक टू सी Sanju Samson given a bit more chances in one days, not in T20 eyes. I think he's been given plenty of chances, लेकिन सिर्फ 16 मैच में दोस्तों, 16 में से केवल 14 पारी के बाद आपके पास अगर 56 का एवरेज हो, और आपने कल जब टीम की खराब स्थिति थी, 3 विकेट गिर चुके थे 100 रन के लिए, एक डिसाइडिंग मैच था, संजू सैमसन स्टूड अप with his maiden one day 100. So to my mind, I've been critical of Sanju Samson when it comes to T20s. I've also said कि शायद he should not be part of India's long-term plans going forward. But कल के पारी के बाद आपको ये मानना पड़ेगा कि भाई बंदे में वाकई में टैलेंट है. And given the fact that he's not had a set batting role, given the fact that he's got 50s, he's got 350s and now 100, I think if the next time India look at someone for number 6, when Rinku Singh is not around, or when even KL Rahul is not around, या अगर आपको अगला second keeper चाहिए after Rishabh Pant comes back, I think KL Rahul and Sanju Samson are the two players that should be debated. Because when you stand up in a decider, Let the series be inconsequential. I myself have called this series very inconsequential because right now one day World Cup is so far down the line and we all know कि जब बड़े बड़े प्लेयर्स वापस आएंगे तो रिंकू सिंह और तिलक वर्मा और ऋतुराज गायकवाड़ और संजू सैमसन भी वो नहीं खेलेंगे बट कल के पारी के बाद आई थिंक संजू सैमसन हैज प्रूव्ड मेनी मेनी पीपल रॉन्ग कि हाँ वो एक्चुअली काबिल है वनडे क्रिकेट में 100 बनाने की बट बात उनकी टेम्परमेंट को लेकर है कि क्यों वो सेट होके 50-60 पे अक्सर छक्के मारने की कोशिश में आउट होते हैं होपफुली फॉर संजू सैमसन सेक एंड फॉर इंडियन क्रिकेट सेक he has turned a corner he's put a value he's put a price on his wicket and he's now realized कि हाँ मेरे पास टैलेंट है बेशक टीन एज ईयर से मैं एक बहुत ही टैलेंटेड प्लेयर हूं लेकिन अब मुझे शायद समझ आ गया है कि एक पारी को संभालना एक पारी को एक्सटेंड करना उसके लिए क्या क्या मेहनत क्या हार्ड वर्क करनी पड़ती है हु नोज बट द बिग पिक्चर इज इंडिया वन द सीरीज 2-1 आफ्टर लूजिंग द सेकंड मैच और अब दोस्तों फोकस शिफ्ट होगा टेस्ट क्रिकेट पर अ टू टेस्ट सीरीज व्हिच आई पर्सनली एम रियली लुकिंग forward to. Yes, on that note, let me have a sip of coffee and then I'll get the live stream comments going. कुछ comments तो आए थे अभी एक सेकंड देखता हूँ मैं चलिए कौन कौन है by the way if you're here hit the like button do subscribe Shreyansh is back Jamie I want to see an Indian team with an average age of 25 to 27 is that possible Indian team is always the oldest I agree with you I've been saying for a long time yesterday when we did a mid innings show on Cricket Next I said I hope and I know it's not going to happen but Shreyansh you would have been happy to hear me say this yesterday I want the Indian team, keeping in mind the 2025 Champions Trophy, keeping in mind the T20 World Cup, I want this team to have a core age of between 25 to 30. नहीं होगा कोई बात नहीं because experience does matter, experience does count, sheer volume of runs does count, but I think, especially for the T20 team, if you want to win the T20 World Cup, you need to have players between the age of 25 and 30. I'm going to extend 3 years because sometimes you have players who are 30 and they're just too damn good. They can't be dropped. But definitely, players who are 35, 36, to my mind, have no business in the T20I team. And I think that'll also be the case for the one day team. You need to invest in players. Unfortunately, we do invest in certain players. And look how young Virat Kohli was when he got his chance. Look how young Rohit Sharma was when he got his chance. But even these great one-day players, when they've had a tough time, they've been dropped and they've had to sit out. I think when you know कि प्लेयर के पास इतनी काबिलियत है भले ही इनकंसिस्टेंट हो यार चांस तो दे दो आप कब तक वेट करोगे रिंकू सिंह को वनडे मैचेस खिलाने में जब वो 30 साल के होंगे आई डोंट नो गुड मॉर्निंग बाय सेज मनीष सोलंकी फीलिंग गुड टू बी प्रूव्ड रॉन्ग मैं भूल गया आपने कल क्या कहा था कि आप रॉन्ग हो देखते हैं बट जस्ट रिमाइंड मी व्हाट यू सेड Rahul Deka Guwahati is saying, sir, what kind of pitch we can expect in first test versus South Africa? I don't know, my friend, because I've not been focusing on that match. अभी भी 3-4 दिन है देखेंगे जब दिन आएगा फिलहाल तो हम बात कर रहे हैं वनडे मैच के बारे में क्या करें इस बायलैटरल विन का जय भाई इसको हम डाल के अपनी जेब में डाल के हम इसको भूल सकते हैं मैं तो कह चुका हूं कि वनडे वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल के बाद जो भी 5 T20 आए थे साउथ अफ्रीका ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ और फिर ये 3 वनडेज ये तीन T20 आईज ये बिल्कुल इनकॉन्सिक्वेंशियल इन द सेंस दैट ऑफ कोर्स संजू सैमसन ने फाइनली 100 लगाया वो बहुत बड़ी बात है ये एक टेक अवे अर्शदीप सिंह ने कुछ 10 विकेट लिए मैन ऑफ द सीरीज रजत पाटीदार को डेब्यू मिला साई सुदर्शन को डेब्यू मिला तो इन लोग के लिए ये सब इनकॉन्सिक्वेंशियल नहीं है बट पॉइंट ये है कि जब इनकी जगह बड़े बड़े प्लेयर्स को जाएगी जब इनको मौका नहीं मिलेंगे आगे जाके तो क्या दैट इज माय पॉइंट इज what is the point but all said and done you have bilateral commitments you have to win a series and good that a very depleted Indian team went on to beat a somewhat stronger South African team क्या केएल राहुल T20 आईज में परमानेंट फिट बैठते नहीं 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 मैं तो पिछले T20 वर्ल्ड कप के बाद 1 साल से ज्यादा हो गया मैंने कहा कि केएल राहुल को T20 आईज के आसपास नहीं देखना चाहिए और बात यह है कि अब तक साल से ऊपर हो गया केएल राहुल एक T20 आई नहीं खेल चुके और मैं चाहूंगा कि यही रहे कि वो T20 टीम में वापस नहीं आएंगे लेकिन हम जानते हैं कि वो जरूर आएंगे जय क्या हाल है भाई मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ बताओ आशुतोष हाउ मेनी प्लेयर्स इन दिस स्क्वाड फीचरिंग इन नेक्स्ट सीरीज um technically India are not scheduled to play a home ODI series in all of 2024 so I don't know how many matches they're going to play but अगर आप वनडे क्रिकेट के बारे में बात करें मैं समझूंगा कि Shreyas Iyer will come back. He missed the last two matches. Virat Kohli will come back. Shubman Gill will come back. Rohit Sharma will come back. Rishabh Pant will definitely play only because India is not playing one days for about 10 months now. Rishabh Pant will come back. Bumrah will come back. Siraj will come back. And maybe Mohammad Shami will come back. Hardik Pandya will, of course, come back. So when there's 8 or 9 players coming back, that means that 8 9 player को अभी जगह खाली करने पड़ेंगे. Jadeja, I don't think he'll come back. Akshar will be there. Sundar will go, Avesh will go. Arshdeep, again, I think, like I've been saying since the start of this series, if Arshdeep Singh takes 5 wickets, and if Avesh Khan takes 4 wickets, and if Sai Sudarshan scores 50s, and if Rinku Singh scores runs, if Samson scores runs, these innings, these contributions, these wickets, they need to be valued. But when you know at least 8 spots are going to go to senior players, what is the point of all this? And I hope the next time, whatever selection committee India puts next time, whenever they sit to pick India's next one-day squad, I hope these performances of Arshdeep and Avesh and Rinku and Sai Sudarshan and Tilak Verma and Avesh and Arshdeep and Samson, I hope they're remembered. But again, it's Indian cricket. I don't see changes anytime soon. Jay Krishnan saying, "What's your opinion on Mukesh's performance? He's only taken 1 wicket in entire ODI series." Jay Krishnan, I said this when Mukesh Kumar made his debut in the West Indies. I said I don't see what this bowler brings to India's white ball squads. He might be an asset in Test cricket. He's got experience. He's got a lot of domestic performances behind his back, but he didn't do much in the West Indies. Didn't do much in the couple matches he played. And in this series, he's just not taken wickets. My view is still not changed in regards to Mukesh Kumar. I don't know why this team is investing in him so much in ODIs and T20s. He bowls about 132, 135. If conditions move, he gets a little bit of swing. But again, in the first match when the swing was so prominent, he didn't get a wicket, and Arshdeep got 5 and Avesh got 4. So again, I personally, I've not seen anything in Mukesh Kumar across his brief international career to suggest that he should play more ODIs and white ball cricket. Akash saying Sanju for ODIs and Pant for Test as India's permanent key batsman will be perfect. Um, Again, only because Rishabh Pant has done such phenomenal things, I would still rather see Rishabh Pant play more. But definitely beyond Ishan Kishan and beyond KL Rahul, if you want someone who can bat as a finisher in one days, I think Samson still would be my pick. But he's very very inconsistent. तिलक वर्मा कैसा लगा थोड़ा स्लो खेलता है हाँ चार मेरे ख्याल से 4 वनडे मैच खेल चुके हैं ज्यादा कर नहीं पाए कल कहीं ना कहीं वो फंस चुके थे बट अगर आप इनके लिस्ट नंबर्स देखिए इनके आईपीएल परफॉर्मेंस देखिए तो वहां तो बहुत बहुत तेज खेलते हैं शायद कल के मैच में क्योंकि विकेट्स गिर चुके थे और आखिरी मैच था सीरीज का इंडिया को जीतना था वो मैच और हो सके कहीं कहीं पिछले 2 मैच की जो फेलियर्स थे उसको लेकर तिलक वर्मा ने कुछ ज्यादा ही स्लो खेला बट ही डिड कैच अप look he's definitely too good to be left out he'll definitely be part of India's white ball plans for the next 10 years he's that good a player अमनदीप कह रहे हैं गुड मॉर्निंग ऐसा ये टीम नॉकआउट्स में क्यों नहीं खेलती क्योंकि हाँ जैसे मैं कह चुका हूँ पूरे पूरे पिछले 1 महीने से इनके पास ये नहीं है इनके पास जो चाहिए एक शातिर दिमाग चाहिए एक जिगरा चाहिए वो इंडियन टीम्स में ओवरऑल नहीं है इसलिए इतने साल से going back to the first World Cup in 1975 India have won very very few trophies as compared to Australia and these kind of teams so it just comes down to the mental aspect I think we all know that KL Rahul playing to bat in middle order in IPL. Yes. Is there any sign of Rahul playing in T20 World Cup? Yes. We've already discussed this in many, many shows. Definitely. That is the sign. And that's what's going to happen. I don't like it, but we know that KL Rahul is going to score a few 50s for LSG and he'll be called back for the T20 World Cup, which is a wrong call. ABCD Kenny, good morning. Watching how this Indian team played, I'll be really surprised if we fail to even one test, considering our best players will be back. I've already said I don't see India winning either of the 2 test matches. It's just how this team is right now. Medal knowledge is fine, but fielding was very poor. Fielding overall is poor. Geriatric Aussies are throwing themselves off the ball, and we do casual strolls. Yeah, the fitness and the catching definitely has dipped. That's a fact. Sanju out of team again after scoring a ton. Yes, Shivam. Only because India are not playing one days for about 9 months now. And when Rishabh Pant and all the big players come back, all the keepers come back, it's going to be very tough for him. When you have eight players coming back overall from the World Cup, जाहिर सी बात है कि सैमसन और रिंकू सिंह, तिलक वर्मा, अर्शदीप, आवेश इन सबको आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा. That's why I called all these matches inconsequential. What to do with experience and stats of a player like Head with solo experience defeat the number one team? Bilkul, bilkul. I've been saying this all the while. I keep asking you all, and I will continue asking you all every time you ask this question to me. Are you, the Indian cricket fan, the Indian cricket public, are you happy with your team being ranked number one across formats with Virat the GOAT and Rohit with 350 one-day centuries? Are you happy with these performances when they amount to nothing, that you've not won a trophy in 10 years? I love to hear from you all whenever I ask this rather tough or kadwa question. वॉशने सुंदर भी अच्छा खेला, क्या T20 खेलेगा? हाँ, वो खेलेगा क्योंकि युवा खिलाड़ी है, अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस देता है, लेकिन वो बहुत दीपक चाहर के जैसे वो बहुत इंजरी प्रोन है. तो अगर इतने वो इंजरी प्रोन नहीं होते तो अब तक वो बहुत बहुत और भी मैचेस खेल चुके होते. Shashank saying, good morning, Jamie. Waiting for you to hit 1000K subscribers. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Come on, guys. Let's make it happen, family. How did KL Rahul came back to Test squad? He was dropped from Test squad versus Australia despite not having any performance in domestic. I don't know. I've said it that KL Rahul has so much faith in this Indian team that he should be the next Prime Minister of India. Because after Modi ji, nobody has as much fan following as KL Rahul. Ab hasi hai, but doesn't make sense why this team keeps going back to him. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with KL Rahul and why he gets so much backing. Shahnawaz कह रहे हैं Jamie seeing you after a long time. Well, you should stick around every day. I haven't seen any match after World Cup. I'm waiting for Test cricket. And one more question: when will we see Rishabh Pant in Indian jersey? Yes, I'm also waiting for Test cricket. Rishabh Pant is not going to be back for at least 4 months. So yeah, probably post IPL we'll see him. Jamie said it's really disappointing that players in mid-30s like Virat, Rohit, and Shami work so hard on their fitness, and these newbies like Arshdeep, Mukesh, Shaw, Sarfaraz ignore fitness and then whine. Sarfaraz Khan, I've said I don't think he'll play for India. Shaw definitely is at least 5 years behind. Mukesh does not look fit. Arshdeep, given the fast bowlers criteria, he is a bit out of form, out of shape, but he's still a very good bowler. So I will remove Arshdeep, but yes, Mukesh, Shaw, Sarfaraz, definitely they're not what you expect. Bilkul. I mean, look at what Virat Kohli's done. Wow, what a level he set, with fielding and fitness. Gaurav Kumar, good morning. Haven't been watching cricket. Drop by to say hi. Listen to Jamie Bai's wisdom. Gaurav Kumar, thank you. बहुत दिनों बाद आप आ चुके हो. स्वागत है आपका. I hope you enjoy today's discussion, my friend. Manish Kare, this team didn't look like winning South Africa, but South Africa did, but surprisingly did well. Exactly, because it was a very depleted team. A lot of players were playing for the first time. A lot of players were just playing their first and second matches. Arshdeep and Avesh had not played ODIs. In fact, Arshdeep had not played a list A match. You know what list A means, right? Arshdeep had not played a list A match for over a year. So I didn't have much hopes because South Africa, borrowing I think three players, had a very very strong team. ये आप कह सकते हैं उनका first choice team था ये. So good for India to be put under pressure after the first match, and good to see all these fringe players, as we call, stand up and really put in good performances. Because the last time, again, मैं आपको याद दिला दूं, पिछली बार जब इंडियन टीम गई साउथ अफ्रीका तो फर्स्ट चॉइस टीम थी वो, और वो टीम तीनों मैच हारी. So good for this second string team to win a series. Shaurya saying there should be stats parameter to measure free, easy runs versus hard-earned crunch runs. That should be added to every player's ESPN Cricket Pro profile. It absolutely should. There is a filmmaker, a journalist, and a die-hard cricket fan called Jaideep Verma, who many years ago, he and another stats man, they put together a system which tried to value runs and wickets and performances based on these parameters. It was called Impact Index. मैं कुछ 6 महीने के लिए इनके साथ मैं जुड़ा था 2011 वर्ल्ड कप और 2011 आईपीएल के बीच. And what Jaideep and Jatin were trying to do was use these parameters. They said, let's move away from the crick info model of just having stats. Let's look at the fall of wickets when a batsman came. Let's look at conditions. Let's look at the kind of bowlers that he scored his runs against. And while it was very ambitious and very difficult to sustain, because such a model needed a lot of hard work and a lot of financial backing, what Jaideep and Jatin were doing actually made a lot of sense. They found some support within the media. They found a lot of people questioning them because in 2010, 11, people were still looking at it with a very insular view. Okay, bhai, like you said, stats, just stats. But what do stats do? Do stats tell the real picture? Not always. So Shaurya, I wish something like Impact Index was still around. This is why I have tried to, in my 18 years, going on 19 years of being a cricket journalist, I try to when I look at stats, I try to give it context. I try to give it meaning. It doesn't always work out that way, but you try to value when a batsman came to bat, what the score was, what the conditions was. It's not easy because it takes a lot of time and effort to look at every single parameter. But I get when you're coming. It would really separate the wheat from the chaff, as the cliched saying goes. Jay Krishnan Kerry, according to you, who will be the third pacer in Test squad in place of Shami? Probably Prasid Krishna, I would say. Ravi Shankar, I think South Africa was not looking interested in this ODI series. South Africa have rarely looked interested in ODI cricket as a whole. So again, they were also missing some key players. They also value Test cricket, I think, more than ODIs. It just, the fact that South Africa have been such a poor one-day team, I think you saw that. So maybe Ravi Shankar, it's not just this series. I think they haven't taken ODI cricket seriously for many, many years. Shreyansh, India produces only top three batters and does not produce good fielders or bowlers or all-rounders. Is it because of a player like Sachin or Virat glorification? No, we've had many good fielders. We've had some fantastic fast bowlers, pace bowlers. We've had few all-rounders, but good all-rounders. It's because to my mind, you need to understand traditionally when you go back to the start. Why does Pakistan produce fast bowlers? Because fast bowlers from the start have been their forte, whereas batsmen and spin bowlers have been India's forte. So it's a classic case of jo dikta hai, wo bikta hai. In the 70s, if you had the great spin quartet, that would naturally inspire many more young Indian cricketers to become spinners. Then Sunil Gavaskar came around. He and Gundappa Vishwanath, inspired a whole generation of players to become batsmen. तो ट्रेडिशनली जब आपकी बैटिंग आपकी स्ट्रेंथ रह चुकी है 70-80 सालों में तो the chances of more better batsmen being inspired to pick up the bat are higher. It took one Kapil Dev to come around, and suddenly you saw a few more all-rounders. But about 15 years ago, when pace started to really improve in India, then you saw an Umesh come through. Then you saw, all these young bowlers come through. So I think it's very much a cultural thing. If you're looking at something, if you're in this 80s looking at Amitabh Bachchan being the angry young man, that then spawns, 15, 20, 25 films about angry young men. You look in the 80s became a very violent kind of landscape for Hindi movies, but then a Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak and a Maine Pyar Kiya came around. And then for about 5 years, you saw romantic films coming around. Then around 93, 94, again, the action genre came back. But one DDLJ came out and proved a smash hit. And 25 years on, we're still seeing a lot of romantic comedies being filmed. So I think it's basically aapko jo dikhta hai, you're inspired to do that. And because India's never had fit players as such as compared to other nations, and because they never had too many good all-rounders, the batting has always been the strongest take. That's just my view on that. People coming hard on Gaikwad, but he's not done well in this series only. He faces tough competition now to Rajat Sai and next series of IPL to give a big statement. Bilkul, he's one of those players who will always be a fringe player when big players come back. Thoughts on IPL and its impact on cricket in general? Gaurav, I've done a couple shows on this week. Very tough to answer your question on in just one aspect. If I start talking about that, I'll probably have to do a 30-minute show. So let's park that one. We did a lot of shows about the IPL auction in the last few weeks, last few days, sorry. Go back and check them out. I think you'll get your answer there. Can we sometimes discuss domestic circuit? We will do that on a different day. Again, back-to-back question you guys have asked. If I start to talk about that, that's a half an hour show right there. So let's talk about the one-day series, Sanju Samson, Arshdeep for now. Rohitab keh rahe hain, I have my doubts on the Indian bowling attack with Arshdeep, Avesh, Mukesh, Akshay in the squad. Again, these are not first choice players. When the first choice players come back, you won't be talking about these players. तो फिलहाल कोई बात नहीं. जो स्क्वाड है, इसी स्क्वाड ने काम काम कर दिया. 3 में से 2 मैच में साउथ अफ्रीका को हराया. पहले मैच में उनको केवल 116 पे ऑल आउट किया. तो ओवरऑल दीज बॉलर्स, barring Mukesh, did the job. Sarfaraz Khan scored a 61 ball century in a practice match. Also, Gill scored a ton. It was a practice match played between. Again, like I said yesterday when you asked this question, these intra squad matches, they mean absolutely nothing. Board presidents' matches, squad matches, tour games, going back to as far as I've been watching cricket since the early 90s, they've actually rarely been an indication of what's going to come. I mean, if that was the case in 2003, Saurav Ganguly's team would have never squared that Test series because their tour matches were just abysmal. These tour matches, especially when the host nation gives you, there's a reason why these board president matches have all stopped because the host nation they always give the visiting team an utterly फालतू team. वो बोलते हैं हाँ चलो आप acclimatize हो जाइए आप 3 दिन बैटिंग करिए but the bowling is always so weak. This is why many boards have stopped playing these many touring teams have stopped playing these board presidents matches and they've now moved to these intra squad, एक ही squad के आसपास. But again, the intensity, the quality, it's always very low. You can never replicate what you face in a test match. And I mean, we all know Sarfaraz Khan may have scored a 61 ball century, but he scored 1,000 runs in the last 3 years, and he's not played for India. So Shuman Gill scored 100 again, but he was facing very poor opposition. Can he do it against Rabada, Nigidi, Kutsia? I hope so, but I'll hold my judgment. My point is to not read into any of these tour matches and practice matches. They're not played seriously at all. Dhruv Sinha, hi Jamie Bhai. Do you think Rinku can be a runner with the bat, bowling and fielding? Bowling, no, he should not bowl. Fielding, he looks good, but he's not a runner. And batting, yes, batting, I believe he can be something like what Raina did. But again, when the big players come back, it takes one Hardik Pandya to come back, bat at number 6, become the vice captain, if not the captain, be the all rounder, or Rinku ka tata bye bye hone wala hai. So I really feel bad for Rinku Singh because I don't see him playing too many matches despite doing some brilliant things in the last couple months. KL Rahul is batting very slowly since World Cup final. What happened to KL Rahul? Again, I've discussed this a million times since the World Cup final. What KL Rahul did in that World Cup final was the strangest thing I've seen in 28 years of watching cricket. I had a lot of hope for him. I think his numbers are very good, but when you consistently bottle it in knockout matches, you need to move on. So I'm really waiting for the day that Rishabh Pant comes back and we can all move on from KL Rahul. Pace is important where the pitch won't assist you, can still bamboozle somebody. I think out of three, only Avesh may be capable of bowling all 6 balls over 140. Probably, definitely. Not Arshdeep, not Mukesh. Practice match se yaad aaya Mumbai beating Australia when they were at their peak. That was epic. That was a match because Sachin Tendulkar chose to play that match because he wanted to counter Shane Warne. That was an epic match. They really smashed them, yeah. But one of the very few matches which actually set in motion something that was going to happen. Shian saying Adidas forced Brazil to play unfit Ronaldo in a World Cup and they lost. With these brands force BCI to play an unfit player in World Cup just because of brand deals? No. Brands won't. Host broadcaster pressure maybe, but not brands. Rinku getting mass fan following as he should. Bilkul, he's a fantastic player. Strangely, Samson's 100 reminded me of the 100 that Manoj Tiwari scored against the West Indies. In that, even though it's a commendable feat, don't think it does anything for him to strengthen his position. Bilkul, that's a good comparison because we know that when 7 or 8, 9 big players come back, all these fringe players will go away. So it probably won't do much, but hopefully the fact that he learned how to convert a start into 100 in a tough situation in a decider, hopefully that is rewarded somewhere down the line. But how उसके chances come in. Nimesh Pandey कहने both team gave opportunity to young players. I think management serious for test match. I hope so. I hope they're serious. I hope the fact that Shreyas Iyer was withdrawn from 2 ODIs to go get fit. I hope Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma skipping the white leg tour. I hope they come back very strong. But I think given the fact that India is a struggling test team right now, I think it's going to be 0-2 to South Africa. But anyways, guys, thanks for joining. I've got to get out of the house and do some Christmas shopping for everyone. So again, thank you all for joining. Uh, thank you for your comments, for your questions. Like button दबाइए. मैं आपसे कल मिलूंगा एक और वीडियो में. You have a great Friday.